Phil Spencer talks about new tech that is coming with them from the acquisition of Bethesda and Zenimax. The Xbox Series X games are about to get a massive boost in performance and overall quality by this state-of-the-art game engine. Let's get into what was said and what we can expect from Xbox Game Studios from now on. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into this awesome piece of information that Phil Spencer and the rest of Xbox opened up about, including Bethesda and all its higher-ups. And like I said in my earlier video, I was going to go into the roundtable with a fine-tooth comb because I wanted to see all the little tidbits that they mention, especially when it comes to creating games, which is the tech that will be coming along with Xbox in this acquisition of Bethesda and all their studios. Now, we know that the studios and all the games coming along are great, but to me, one of the most important aspects of this acquisition is the game engines and the software that people created while on the Bethesda teams. And it's something that Phil Spencer and the others during the roundtable mentions multiple times. And the most impressive tech had to be id Tech, the people that made Doom Eternal. And I don't want to mince any words, and I didn't want to mess this up at all, so I wanted to get into exactly what Phil Spencer had to say about this. Here's what he said at the roundtable.
You know, the thing about Doom and id that I think we like to talk about the history of the studio, which is amazing, but you can see it in Doom Eternal. There's no studio that sweats every pixel on screen of every frame the way id does. Like, it's just so clear.
It's like you spend time with them.
Spend time with the games, and it just pops. Like, it's so clear. And then when you think about their capability, and I think about them collaborating and working and talking with the Coalition and 343 and just like the first-person shooter, third-person shooter space that we have, the studios that are there, I think just kind of an amazing capability. The other thing I get really excited about with id that we haven't really talked a lot about is the future of id Tech. And what could that mean inside of Xbox? Obviously, you know, we've got a ton of studios doing a bunch of different work. I love the way Marty talked about how they've collaborated with other Bethesda studios on id Tech. And I just think about that to the next level. Like, what can we do inside of our organization with id Tech, which is one of the world's best game engines out there, and just make it a tool that so many developers can use to realize their vision.
With id, it's amazing because we didn't just get this like incredible library of IP. We got all these amazing people who are so meticulous, as you can tell through their game.
So at the beginning, you could tell that Pete Hines and Aaron kind of poke fun at Phil Spencer when it comes to id Tech. He seems almost too excited to work with that software, and how could he not be? It's one of the best game engines in the business. And I've been playing Doom Eternal on my PC, and I have to say, it runs extremely smooth. And this is after I beat it on my Xbox One X. The way the engine works is insane. So yeah, this is something that truly gets people excited because the best friend of a developer is the tools that help make them the game. And that's something that Xbox needs to have in their corner. And it's something they have now for all their studios, which again is something Phil Spencer talks about right here. He mentions that id Tech is one of the best game engines in the world, and it helps them really change the way they'll make games in some of the studios. Not from a creative standpoint, but from an engine standpoint. Aaron even talks about amazing IPs from id Tech, but also how the engine and the creatives helped make those studios into what they are. But he specifically mentions 343 Industries and the Coalition, who are some of the biggest studios at Xbox right now. They make Halo and Gears, which are two of the biggest shooters in all of gaming. He talks about them working with id Tech and the developers from id Software. That to me is amazing to think about because Doom Eternal is not only a graphical showpiece, but it's also a performance showpiece on multiple platforms. And to put that into a Halo game or a Gears game just really gets me excited because those franchises are some of the biggest at Xbox, and I feel like if they had id Tech helping them, they could be limitless in what they can do. So yeah, while I love that Xbox has all of these amazing IPs and these amazing games coming to the platform, it's the tech behind these games that I think is the true game changer. Because now Xbox can get away from using Unreal Engine or engines that are other third-party developers made. They'll be able to keep it in-house and have all the studios around Xbox help each other make the game. And speaking of studios working together, that's something that Pete Hines talks about right here. He talks about all the studios within Bethesda working together on id Tech and how it's been pretty much multiple studios working on this software and how it was built. Here's what was said.
So let's talk a little bit about all of those studios coming on board and what they do, because, you know, Phil, you were just talking about shooters, which is something obviously id knows very much, but their tech and their work went across all of those studios I just mentioned. You know, Machine Games coming in and rebooting Wolfenstein, this iconic franchise was...
Yeah, because the New Order runs on id Tech, right? I mean, all...
Yeah. Everything Machine Games has done has run on id Tech, and Machine Games collaborating with them set a standard for collaboration among studios that they then did with Arcane. So it was really interesting to see all of these folks come in together and sort of grab onto what we had started to establish with BGS and then ZOS and then id Software.
This to me is one of the biggest reasons Microsoft and Xbox decided to buy ZeniMax and the Bethesda studios. It's the collaboration they had internally that really sets the standards when it comes to first-party development. And it's something we talked about extensively on this channel. We've always mentioned that Sony as a first-party studio works together on pretty much all of their games. They have this relationship within the first-party studios that all publishers sort of envy. It's because they aren't afraid to work together and share technology because they're all a part of the same team, so to speak. That's something you can tell Bethesda has really taken to heart with their studios, because we have to remember Bethesda is a massive publisher and they're competing with not only Ubisoft, EA, and Activision, but they were in some standards competing with Sony and Xbox with the gaming technology out there. So of course they had their studios working together so they can bring out the best possible games. Not to mention have their id Tech be contracted out to other game developers so they can make money from that also. And we have to remember, Bethesda Softworks also has their own game engine that they've been developing for years, and they actually just started updating that for Starfield. So as you can see, these studios and this development teams aren't the only thing that really comes with this acquisition, it's the tech behind them. The whole internal workings of Bethesda and ZeniMax Studios is the exact thing Xbox needed with their first-party studios. Developers working together so they can continue to make some of the best games in the industry. That relationship between first-party developers is the missing key I think Xbox needed. And with adding this many studios with so many talented people in them, it's going to be a massive advantage Xbox never had before. And it's something that Phil Spencer talks about right here when he brings up the Xbox game studios already a part of Xbox working with this type of tech and with Bethesda and how they're going to learn from this. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, definitely as you're watching all of the pieces, you feel some common threads that come out. One is trust and confidence. Robert's mentioned a lot the way that Bethesda supported teams to do new things. And we've said this in Xbox as we've been planning for this moment for so long. This is an opportunity for us to learn as an organization from a team that's done work incredibly well. You've worked with such a diverse set of studios, giving them a sense of confidence, and you heard the stories that allow them to go and try new creative things in different ways, not stay safe. Like that's the goal as a platform holder and the aspiration that we have. We don't need 15 games that are trying to do the same thing. We would like to try 30 different things across 15 different games. It's even more now when you think about all the studios. So I love just listening and learning from what you and the teams have built and hearing the sense of confidence that the teams have of we can go try to do new things. We can go work with another partner that we have and learn from that. Really amazing work. And I just can't wait to learn more and more about how you've done that over the years.
Okay, so I know this is going to sound a little crazy, but the way Phil Spencer talks about the studios trusting each other and how Bethesda trusted their studios to try new things really makes me feel like that was a little bit of a jab at the competition. He kind of says we don't want the same 15 games. Because the one critical feedback Sony has had with their first-party studios is that a lot of them feel the same. Over-the-shoulder, third-person adventure games, kind of all looking the same. Now, while that's all amazing and they've created some of the best experiences ever last generation, they didn't have an FPS game or a massive RPG game or something out of the ordinary in multiplayer. In fact, they didn't have any multiplayer games, to be frank. So to me, it's great that Phil Spencer talks about taking risks and opening up the creative talent to make the type of game they want to make, and trusting the studios to make those games and knock it out of the park. And that's why this new tech within the Xbox Series X is going to be vital when it comes to creating games. It's because all these game engines and all this development time that Bethesda has done will transfer over to Xbox instantly. Will it take time for the new developers to get a handle on the tech? Of course, but the heavy lifting of creating this stuff from scratch is already done by the talented people at Bethesda. So Xbox is able to use all of this software technology and implement it on their next generation Xbox Series X hardware. And we already know that Xbox and Bethesda worked closely on the Xbox Series X hardware. So of course it's going to take full advantage of this new id Tech and the future tech coming from the company. And to be this type of open work environment is something Xbox Game Studios sorely needed. And now they have one of the best game engines in the world. Can't wait to see what all the studios can do over the next couple of years working together, because I think that's a big advantage that Xbox simply didn't have before. And it makes me excited to see what they can build together. And that's the whole point of this. Xbox has been very vocal about studios working together to get the best possible games. And that's what I think this whole acquisition is about. Having developers work together to get great games in our hands where we can just play them in the comfort of our homes. But enough of what I think about this. Tell me what you think about all of this. Do you think id Tech is going to be a part of Halo, or is it going to be a part of the next Gears of War game? What other fringe benefits do you see Xbox getting from this acquisition? Are the studios working together something Xbox truly needed? What games do you want to see on the new tech for Xbox and their first-party studios? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. Right now, I said I was going to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but honestly, I got lost in Medium. The Medium is a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun with that game. I just got into like a lot of the story, and I've gone pretty far into it. I'm really enjoying it, and it's kind of creepy, so I really recommend people check that out on Game Pass. I beat Dirt 5. I did the entire campaign, all the throwdowns. I just had a lot of fun with that game, and I'm almost like 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements on it. So yeah, it was really cool and a kind of big time fill. I was playing it a lot in like parties while hanging out with friends. But I've been playing a lot of Doom Eternal on my PC because that game runs magnificently on my PC. I have to say that game is great. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I beat it on my Xbox One X, but then after playing it on my PC, I'm like, man, I really wanted to make a video about this. So I did, and this is it. That's why I talked about id Tech and what Phil Spencer had to say, because it is true. Doom Eternal and id Tech and id Software just really make great games that are polished beyond belief. And that's what I was experiencing on Doom Eternal on my PC. Polish and a great game that probably should have won Game of the Year. But let me know what you're playing. I want to know what everybody's playing. Go down below. Let me know what the game you're working on. Are you working on something from Game Pass? Are you on your PlayStation? Let me know down below, because that's what we're here for, to talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.